Welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Rachel Strickland. Today's video is a little bit different, but I want to touch on something I'm seeing more and more people either moving towards self-employment or even staying at home in their existing job, just some way to stop giving away a third of your day if you are blessed to only work 8 hours a day and start taking control and actually living your life. This is something that I struggled with for a few years before I got to the point where I am right now. I've never been happier. I am excited about life and truly living it on my own schedule, not clocking in, not asking permission to go on vacation, not asking permission to go to my kids' parties or paying for it for taking a sick day. If the things that I am saying I broke away from sounds like the current life that you're living now, stay tuned. I'm gonna tell you guys exactly how I broke out of that and how I'm living the life that I am now. Alrighty. In 2015, I was planning my wedding, working full-time as a realtor, raising my 9-year-old son, leading children's church, basically searching for more hours in the day. My job was a good one. I could sneak away to class parties or I could stay at home with my son if he were to be sick, but always it felt like at a cost. You know how when you get back from vacation, it's almost more stressful that Monday back because you have to pay for the time you took off? Well, while being a realtor was advertised as you make your own schedule, it really wasn't. If you weren't willing to work at the brokerage's schedule and you wanted to truly clock out on occasion and live your own life, that wasn't allowed without a lot of stress upon your return or the need to give an explanation to people that didn't need you to explain your life to them. Our particular brokerage split meant that oftentimes the broker would make more than the agent did on a sale. So even though I lived a super frugal lifestyle, and I still do, I don't need a whole lot of money to support my lifestyle, and our office minimums were very, very low, there was always constant pressure to be selling more from the brokerage because, like I said, they would make more money than you did on a sale. The brokerage was never happy with time spent away with family or just living your life, and the truth is most bosses aren't. And even though we were independent contractors, we were definitely treated in a lot of capacities like employees. Take for instance, these meetings we would have every week. We would have like a 3-hour-long meeting. We're not paid to be at these meetings, but we were expected to be there, and they would drone on and on. We were just expected to be there 3 hours every week times 52 weeks is 156 hours. That's a week of my life every single year, watching my broker read a piece of paper that we all had copies of in our hands. It's another meeting that could have been an email. And more often, I feel like that is exactly what like corporate employment is. It reminds me a lot of school, which I guess was just preparing you for the employment system, because the amount of stuff we learned in school didn't have to take 7 or 8 hours every day. We really could have learned it in just a couple hours. It's like what the homeschool kids and parents had figured out. I'm just figuring that out as an adult now. Like, this is my homeschool. Let's just call it homework. So there I am in these meetings, again, watching the broker read a piece of paper we all had a copy of, and one day something snapped, or maybe something was put back together. Maybe whatever the employment system had spent 16 years up to that point breaking down in me suddenly fused back together. In 2016, I was prepping for my second child, and I was determined not to send him to daycare. Maybe that's why you clicked on this video today. Perhaps you've determined that you're not paying someone else for the joy of raising your kids while you work somewhere when you'd rather be home with your kids. Is that you? I pulled away from work and I started a side hustle, just preparing for the day that I'd be able to leave altogether. Truth be told, financially, I could have and should have left that year, but I didn't. I stuck around for 4 more years. 4 more years, guys, of those meetings. A week of my life every year. That's 4 weeks. I gave a month of my life to sitting at that table watching her read those papers. In 2020, the market was super strange while all of us stayed at home. There were not a lot of people that wanted to invite a stranger into their home. My husband's also self-employed as an electrician. His job is also very dependent on being welcomed into other people's homes. As independent contractors, we didn't qualify for a lot of the paycheck assistance that was out there, so it was a stressful time to say the least. I knew I needed to do something to ensure that my side hustle was going to pay our bills that month. What was the side hustle? reselling. For 4 years, I had been buying low and selling high. I would buy a purse for $1 or $2 and sell it for $40 or $50. I was selling on eBay and Poshmark, and I was making a decent side hustle income doing it. March 2020 was a scary time for me. I'm gonna be honest and vulnerable with you guys. I started searching around for anything that I knew people would buy online amidst basically worldwide closures of everything. I decided to sell weights. Yes, weights, like dumbbells, like weight plates. Gyms everywhere were closed. I reached out to someone I knew who had a lot of weights just like basically rotting in their front yard. I told them what I intended to do, that I needed to sell these to make extra money, and they said I could have them for $75. Guys, it was probably close to 70 weights. There were a ton of weights here. This was my first really major flip, and from that $75 purchase, they sold as fast as I could get them listed for $3,500. I think that's when it clicked and I realized that I hadn't even scratched the surface of what reselling could be. Like, I know I walked physically, I walked back into the real estate office after that, but truth is I never really went back. I held on to a few customers and clients who wanted specifically to work with me, but every time I would show a house, I just wanted to be at the thrift store or on eBay. If my heart was ever in real estate, it no longer was. I tried to make leaving real estate like pulling off a band-aid slowly. I can see now that in reality that just made everything worse. If you're thinking of leaving your job for your side hustle and everything's lined up, like, just do it. Rip it off like a band-aid. By 2021, I decided to go all in with what to date was my biggest challenge to myself. I decided I would resell my way to a used car. I needed a new car, and like everything else in my life, I determined this was going to be debt-free. So I started listing 50 items a day. The days turned into weeks, the weeks turned into months, and before you knew it, the used car market did things that no one had predicted. Used cars were skyrocketing in price. The market was inflated like we had never seen before. I refused to be a victim of circumstance. So while the used car prices escalated to that of a new car price, it became clear to me that I didn't have enough money to buy a used car, and it would take 6 months to get a new one. The choice to me became obvious. Order the new car. Work harder for the next 6 months, save up to ensure that when that thing comes in, you're still paying cash for it. I know that seems like a crazy goal, but I really enjoy crazy goals. So I was like, okay, cool, let's do this. And I went full force with those 50 items a day. I was bound and determined that when the car come in, I was going to pay cash for it. This month marks 1 year since I was able to fulfill that promise, that goal set to myself. And I walked into the dealership and paid cash for my new Bronco. The next month, I terminated my relationship with the real estate brokerage. I placed my license inactive. I burned the ships. There is no going back. I've spent the last year waking up every morning answering to me, not asking for permission, not facing the boss's retaliation or stress because I needed a day off. At one point while I was working in real estate, I didn't have a day off the entire year until Easter. Guys, Easter was in April. My family and I just took a 2-week vacation last month, and I didn't ask anyone's permission to do it. I didn't need anyone's assistance with a file. That is the first vacation in my adult life that I've truly felt free. I'm smiling because it only took me 36 years to realize this, but guys, it took me 36 years. Maybe you're watching this and it took you longer. Maybe you still haven't figured it out yet. Maybe you're a teenager like my son who worked 2 weeks in fast food before he ran to reselling on Whatnot and can make more in one night than he could 2 weeks serving burgers. Here's the thing. I don't want one person who's looking for this to miss it. I don't want one person who is searching for a way out of asking permission to live their life to miss this, to be searching for this and not find it. Reselling is for everyone. There's no college education required. If you have a degree, we won't fault you for that. It is for everyone, and there are enough wins to go around. There's room for everyone to win at this. It is whatever you make of it. Your pay is going to have a direct correlation of how hard you're willing to work, but you'll be working for you. There's a lot of low-hanging fruit in the world of reselling. We call those bread and butter items. And then there are some major bolos that will pay your mortgage with just one sale. I once flipped a set of silverware I paid $10 for $1,000. This is real, this is a way out, and you can do it. I've spent the past 3 years making almost exclusively reselling content on this YouTube channel. The videos are all free. Subscribe, check out a playlist. And if this video doesn't apply to you, if you are happy and content in your job, but you know someone it does apply to, share it with them. I don't want one person who's searching for a way out to miss this. Break free. Make however much you need to pay for the life of your dreams and start living it.